You know what I mean? Here we go. Let everybody get up in here for a second. You know what I mean? How y'all doing?
Good, good.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Everybody a second. Nathan got the standing desk.
Finally, that cardio.
Yeah, that's right. I'll give everybody like a
Yeah.
minute or so. You know what I mean? Apologize for being, I guess, about a few minutes late. We're trying to get everything together, you know. Um, straight up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. How you doing, brother Ed?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
How about y'all?
Shoot, man. We hanging on like a kite in a windstorm, you know? Like, shoot.
Yes, sir.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, like a paper plate in a windstorm, you know? Trying to make it. You know,
100%.
this whole coronavirus, this whole corona, you know what I mean? It made the whole world just change real rapidly. You know what I mean? And it got a lot of like it got us highlighting and like recognizing a whole lot of stuff. You know, people got time to think and man, and because of that and the situation that's going on, you know, everybody's up in atoms in it. Like, you know what I mean? So we're in an interesting time, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So like man, I guess we get into it right now. We're gonna run a some intros, you know what I mean? So like let's everybody let's say our names and our job titles and give everybody a brief background of how you get involved in this quote unquote criminal justice system or just fighting for our folks' freedom work.
You want to go first, Chief?
Who me? Oh, okay. I'm Terrence Stewart. I'm the statewide director, California for Safety and Justice, Time Done Project, the Time Done phenomenon. You know, and what we do is we highlight the issues that people living with past convictions. You know, um, it's over 8 million of us living in California, and there's over 48 barriers that we face day to day. And what we're trying to do is reduce the number of people who have these who have to deal with these barriers and reduce the number of barriers that people face day to day. Yep.
Sure.
Go ahead, Ed.
All right. My name is Ed Little, and I'm a policy advocate. That's a nice way of saying basically a lobbyist for Californians for Safety and Justice. And I work out of the California State Capitol to advance legislative priorities and initiatives and remove barriers for individuals who are impacted by the criminal justice system.
Yes, sir. I'm Nathan Purtle. I deal with mostly anything branding, marketing, and people. I consider myself more of a people person over a policy person. So I feel like I'm, a perfect balance, for this team. I found a lot of my success, throughout the years has come from just being able to build relationships with people. And I'm excited to be a part of this journey. Honestly, I started out as the national director for Time Done, and I've just been floating throughout the company, seeing where I fit in, and how many people that I can help every single day, whether that's on the team or whether that's, out in the real world. So I'm glad to be here.
That's what's up, man. I'm glad to work with you. You know, his nickname is the coach. How you get the nickname the coach?
Man, because I run the play, man. I run the play. I studied all the great coaches, especially Phil Jackson, and just learning how to empower everybody on the team, learning everybody's strengths and weaknesses, and turning those, weaknesses into strengths by using somebody else's power that's next to them. So we all balance it out, running that triangle offense.
That's right. That's why
Yeah.
when you said that you was a people person and Ed said he was a policy person, and I figured I was like both. So I figured like we was the triangle. So like you know what I mean. It's like you brought up the triangle offense. You know what I mean? Because we the triangle
Yeah,
offense and defense. You know what I mean? But
100%.
yeah. So Ed, Ed, what brought you to the doing like this type of work? What brought you into policy work, Ed?
So I came into this work after serving 14 years in Ohio's prison system. And when I got out, I said I was going to commit the rest of my life to eliminating barriers and structures and institutions that held our people back, particularly those of us who've been impacted by the criminal justice system. And so that's what I've been committed to. And that's why I chose the name Equal Justice on my as my Twitter handle, because that's what I've been striving for since my release. And basically, you know, what this has been about for me is looking at the policies that are established not only at the state level but also at the federal level. And as you highlighted, Terrence, you know, when we have 45,000 barriers that are erected at a national level that prevent people who've been impacted by the criminal legal system from having a connection with society and making them whole when they get out of prisons and jails, then I felt like it was my job, it was my task to begin to work on removing those barriers. And so that's what I've been committed to. And that's what I'm committed to right now with Californians for Safety and Justice. And I'm really, really excited and happy about the work that we do and what I contribute to the work that we do in this organization is to remove barriers from people who are struggling to provide for themselves and their families and just to, you know, get established.
Right on with the right on. You know, I met Brother Ed, man. I met him. We met in the state capitol. You know what I mean? Quest for Democracy, formerly incarcerated people lobby day, man. And you know, I met him and he had this suit on when I first met him. I said, man, that boy's sharp. That boy's sharp. You know what I mean? And I said that boy's sharp. That boy's sharp. And, but when I got in the meeting, man, I was really impressed with your knowledge of policy and your experience and what you bring to this movement. And people don't know that, like, you're like a secret weapon, you know what I mean? And you get the job done, man. So, man, right on with Ed, man. Yeah, but brother Nathan. I used to say my man Nathan, he put the NAT in national, you know what I mean? brother Nathan, great, man. How did you get what brought you to get involved in this type of work?
I think what brought me to get involved in this type of work is just being someone who, quote unquote, made it out of where I was from, and who overcame a lot of the barriers that we faced. I felt like my voice was needed. You know, I felt like my energy was needed because I was able to go through and kind of feel the structure out a little bit more. And when I got to where I was in my career and I realized that there was only one person with a criminal conviction or a past background in the room, that there were so many more people out there, you know, like me and like the people at Alliance for Safety and Justice who needed us to fight for them. Because a lot of times when you haven't reached a certain level, people don't take your argument serious. So I looked at it almost like my Rosa Parks, you know, sitting down. I looked at it like my Harriet Tubman moment, where it's like, you know, you'll never be free until everybody around you is free. So I decided to go back and decide everything that I was doing and put that energy into freeing my people, putting that energy into spreading love and compassion and building, you know, building community with my people. So that's how I got here, you know, because there comes a time where you realize if you're the only person like you in the room, there's a problem. You know, if you were the only person like you in the room, there's always misunderstanding and misconceptions as if, oh, you're the one, you know. And I knew that I wasn't the one. I knew that I was one of a million people who deserved the shot that I created for myself. So I decided I was going to come back and help create that same exact shot for other people that was given to me. And I wanted to see other people next to me who came from the struggle or who came from a troubled background or a troubled past. And I wanted to be that guiding light to shed my light on other people so that they could shed their light. And, you know, that's how I got here. And that's why I'm here every day. And that's why I wake up, you know, with this energy, because we need each other. We are the only community that once we make make a mistake, that our life is supposed to be that tough for the rest of our lives. You know, if we grew up in a wealthy community with wealthy parents, chances are we would have gotten out of our situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I'm here to help create an equal playing field for our people, to help remove those boundaries and those barriers that are put in front of us because people look at us like we are not equipped to become successful in society,
Right.
you know, which is far from the truth. So that's
Man.
a huge part of the reason why I'm here, you know, and that's a part of the story, man.
Man, now that's right on. You know, that's right on. You know, and you know, one thing I know, this is a question in California. You know, well, it is a deadly question, but I'm just asking you just out of generosity. You know, where are you from? Where you from? I mean, like where you from?
I'm from East St. Louis. East
Okay,
St. Louis, Missouri. I grew up in East St. Louis, back and forth from East St. Louis and Decatur, Illinois. So I'm from the Midwest.
Midwest. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Thank you, brother Nate. Okay,
for
so me,
sure.
I don't know. I feel like this. I kind of like chose this work, but I feel like this work kind of chose me. You know what I mean? I do. You know, same thing as you. Like everything that you know, as a youth, you know, I got in trouble in school and stuff. So like, I choose sometimes to work. Well, a lot of times I have worked in continuation schools and worked with after school centers and work with at risk youth, you know, or at promise youth. You know what I mean? Because these
Right.
kids are full of promise. All they need is the right opportunity, and they can get wherever they can, and they don't realize that by giving them opportunity, we increase unity. You know, so
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, like, you know, that always happened. You know, I got hurt before, like, you know what I mean, as far as like violence and things like that, you know what I mean? So like, you know, it's always alternatives to violence and stuff like that. So like, you know, that's part of the work that I do, you know what I mean? I have been young and understand like they're what they be talking about when they say crime prevention. That crime prevention is another code word for racial profiling, if you ask me. So like, you know, I got involved in like some type of police accountability work over the years, and then so like I feel like, you know, the everything that I have that have quote unquote tried to oppress me is the reason why I fight for what I fight for. You know what I mean? So like, me as a formerly incarcerated person, you know, I think it's only right that I fight for formerly incarcerated people, because like, you know, um the situation goes like this, like, you know, and it's my line, but like, you know, being a father of a father, and like understanding like, I have been denied jobs and I have been denied housing when I'm trying to take care of my family, you know, and like the feeling of that, you know, it never leaves you. You know what I mean? Your kids, you know, they can cry and everything else in these interviews and stuff, but the system, you know, the policy is already created, so they don't give us no opportunity. And I don't feel like that's right, especially for the thousands of and millions of people that's trying to get their life together. So like, what we do, it brought me to this fight, you know, and I kind of like, you know, went to getting here through college, you know. I went to college 2 weeks out of prison, and you know, I went to Compton College. It was El Camino Compton Center at the time. You know, they had just lost their accreditation and they were fighting to get it back, you know, and I came in at that time, and you know, I just wanted to get off of parole. I just wanted to get off of parole, and in doing so, you know, I ended up going to classes, and I started liking classes, and I start interacting in different activities on campus, and then you know, I was asked to be a part of student government, you know, and I like, and this is a key thing that I feel like, you know, when it comes down to this work, like, you know, what TimeDone is about leadership development, and like giving people opportunity to become leaders now, because like, you know, before this moment of them ever asking me, and I had to go all the way to college to get to this point after being in prison, and anything was the first time anybody ever asked me to be a part of something positive. you know, and like, you know, nobody never offered that opportunity to me. So like, you know, I never really did too much positive stuff. So like when I was given the opportunity, I actually liked it, you know, you know, and so like eventually they let me speak at a town hall meeting with the mayor and the provost and the direct and the dean of students. And I told him about being a formerly incarcerated person in college, being the opportunity for me to feel like self-worth for the first time in life, you know. And you know, I got a standing ovation in the mayor and everybody came to meet me. And you know, and I talked about a formerly incarcerated struggle from that point on, you know, which brought me to like Prop 47, you know, where you know, before Prop 47 for me, it was mainly like formerly incarcerated people getting jobs, felon friendly jobs. You know, me and Mike Chanham, we started like a little small All of Us or None group at Compton College, and what we used to do is get employers to come up there and educate the people who have past convictions on how to go through interview processes and stuff like that. So like, you know, that was like the first thing that I was doing when it came down to it and being a voice, you know. And we started a little small chapter of All of Us and None at Compton College. And then I moved to Riverside, and then we started getting involved in with All of Us and None out there. And what happened is like, you know, like we did the backpack drive giveaway, but then like what happened with a big change with Prop 47 was because like that was my first time I've ever organizer, and what I did was I organized phone banks. In Prop 47, you know, it changed 6 low entry level felonies into misdemeanors, and what they did was change, but took the money from the prison system, the savings from that, and put it in mental health programs, school programs, and victim programs. And you know, California for Safety and Justice, like a lot of our work comes down to victims, crime victims. So like they end up doing putting like over 12 trauma recovery centers throughout the state of California when there used to only be one. And you know what I mean? The money went other places that, like, you know, it was all kinds of obstacle to get the money to the community. But what the first thing we did was we divested from the criminal justice system and put it into community, you know. And like the big conversation right now is that, you know, so like back then in like 2014, you know, the big push was Prop 47. And then like, you know, and as time progressed, you know, we started to find different things in that. And so like, you know, we ran Second Chance Initiative, where we did the Second Chance Initiative, where it got people from the anchor organizations from all throughout the state of California, and people all got together, and we created this whole study, and we studied different topics of reentry, and we came up with this book called The Road to Redemption, in which we passed it out to elected officials. And like because of that, like some of the bills that we push today, you know, got established. You know what I mean? Shout out to Ting, you know, with the automatic expungement bill, you know, and we're still pushing for the retroactiveness. But like, you know, in that Second Chance Coalition, you know, we had it, and we did all kinds of studies, and it was a great think tank. But like we had issues with the word second chances, because second chances, some people feel like, you know, on our side, we ain't never been given the first chance, right? But on the 100%. Other side, like, you know, how many chances are we going to give y'all? You know, so like because of that, like, you know, we look for different names, and the name that came to us that polled and that was already right, and we all agreed upon was TimeDone. And like that's what brought us to the TimeDone. And then we launched with TimeDone when we had the concert with the late great Nipsey Hussle, you know, and he came out there, him and Ty Dolla $ign and Guapale and John Forte and the choir about a Compton. You know what I mean? We had a rocking show, and we had facts in between acts, great people in between, educating people on the constant struggle of the barriers that we face. And then after that, we launched, and we've been having trainings and stuff all throughout the state of California, putting TimeDone on the map, and that's where we are today. You know what I mean? So I had to give a little quick brief history on how TimeDone got here today. Shout out to my man Jay Jordan. You know, his leadership, you know what I mean, is also restored the ship, you know what I mean? So shout out, take my hat off to a real one, you know what I mean? Put it back on for all you haters, you know what I'm saying, man? Much love, my man Jay. Yeah, sorry, I just got long-winded.
No, don't speak. That's what we're here for, man. We appreciate that. You know, I'm sure people appreciate, you know, getting that history.
Oh yeah, sure. Man. Right on. Yeah, and while I'm doing this, man, you know, we're gonna get into the policy, but I did want to do this. Shout out to all the anchor organizations, everybody that made TimeDone what it is. You know what I mean? Shout out to the folks in Richmond, Project Safe Return. You know, Tamisha and Shayla. You know what I mean? Out there holding it down. Shout out to Boss out in Oakland. You know what I mean? Building opportunity for self-sufficiency. You know what I mean? My man Donald Frazier and Tim Smith. You know what I mean? Much love y'all. Shout out to Faith in the Valley, Elder Tony, Pastor Curtis. You know what I mean? Trina, and then also TimeDone 209, brother Tommy Bush and Charles Smith and Anthony Robinson and James Smith and everybody, man. Shout out to y'all, man. And then coming down, you know, shout out to CIS Champions in Service, Bobby and Carla. Then shout out to New Way of Life, Ingrid, Susan Burton, you know what I mean, Harriet Tubman of our generation, you know what I mean. And shout out to Homeboy Industry, Fabian, Miguel, and the person, my man Jose Osuna, even though he don't work there no more, but he's still, man, that's my man. And then in the Inland Empire, man, shout out to all shout out to ICUC, Unity, Refine, you know what I mean, Starting Over Inc., all the organizations, man, that put us on the map, you know what I mean. And Orange County Project Kinship, Jeff Beaver, Stephen Kim, you know what I mean, Pop Lock, you know, I'm TD Bone, you know what I mean, and shout out to my pillars in the community out there in Orange County, Southeast San Diego, you know what I mean, Layla and Khaled and Musla and Anthony, Lil T, and all of the people out there, man, SDOP, Jeff, and all of y'all, man, much love, man. Shout out to the whole state of California that's out there that's putting TimeDone on the map to help us get this forward, man. We couldn't have did half the work that we did without y'all, man. So take my hat off to all y'all real people, the anchor organizations. There's much love and respect, man. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So man, Ed, come bless us with some of that policy.
Yeah, bruh. So at the end of the day, this is what it's all. This is what it's all about. It's about removing these barriers. And so right now, one of the things that we're focusing on is establishing a California Reentry Commission. And right now, there are roughly 28 states around the country that have reentry commissions, reentry task forces, reentry coalition. I was instrumental in establishing one in Ohio. And I'm excited about what we can do here in California. And the Reentry Commission is really designed to create a bridge between people coming out of prisons and jails all across the state of California to help them get connected to programs, services, and resources when they touch down in the community. And so we're trying to work with the state to make sure that members of the governor's cabinet who are over these departments that are responsible for making sure that individuals coming out of prisons and jails get these services, that they are at the table. And so what we want to do is when an individual gets out, for example, let's say an individual needs an ID or a social security card. If we have the head of the DMV at the table, and then if there's an issue with individuals getting out and needing to get their ID, then we can establish a program or an initiative where when individuals get out, as soon as they get out, they go to the DMV, they trade in their inmate ID for a state ID. And then that way they can take that ID and be able to enter into many of the offices that they would need to go to access the services that they need. Because oftentimes when individuals get out and all they have is that inmate ID, they can't access those services because people won't accept the inmate ID. And it's interesting is that when you get locked up in America, anywhere in America, the first thing they want to do is take your name from you and give you a number, and then give you ID that you're compelled to wear. And this becomes your identity. But when you come back into the free world, no one wants to recognize or acknowledge this number that you were forced to wear and forced to respond to for X number of time. So it's the state's responsibility to take those IDs and exchange them for IDs that carry your name, your birth name, your given name. Also, when you talk about social security cards, it's we could establish a program that prior to individuals getting out of prison, they could work something out with the Social Security Administration to make sure that everybody who gets out has a copy in their hand of their Social Security card when they leave. These are things that can be done when there's real coordination with the state, including making sure that individuals have access to housing, because we know that that is a serious issue right now in California for individuals who are getting out of prisons and jails all across the state. When you consider the fact that we have, according to the numbers, and I think it might be much higher, but they say there are over 150,000 people in this state who are homeless. And you think of what percentage of that are people who have been impacted by the criminal legal system, which is what is causing their homelessness because of the barriers that are erected against people who have criminal convictions. These are the issues that we are working towards to address at Californians in Safety and for Safety and Justice, and particularly with TimeDone. And you said something, Terrence, that I think is important for me to highlight again, is the fact that Californians for Safety and Justice was ahead of the curve. We were out here trying to divest from the prison system and invest in programs and services that will contribute to community uplift. And we were doing this long before it was fashionable. And we caught a lot of flack from people in a lot of different spaces because people just couldn't see it at that time, what it was we were trying to do, to take money from the prison system, from the legal system, and put it back into community where it belongs, so that we don't have these oversized prison systems. And we invest more in schools and community and programs and services that will help people live full lives. And so when we look at this from a policy perspective, that's really what this is about, because policy shapes community, policy shapes lives. And if we don't change policies, a lot of these ideas and a lot of things that we want to do, they won't be reality because of the laws that are in effect on the books right now. Another piece of policy that I am working on real quickly is a survivor bill, where we are put in, and first of all, let me kind of state the bill number so everyone understands what these are. The bill for the California Reentry Commission is SB 369. The survivor bill that we're pushing is AB 767. The survivor bill is designed to eliminate the barriers that are presented against people who are attempting to access victims of crime resources. A lot of folks in our community are not aware that the federal government provides millions of dollars to states, to every state all across this country, when you are a victim of crime or when you have been a victim of violence, that you can go to the state and access resources that will help you with time that you've lost off your job, with hospital bills, God forbid, if someone died, or funeral expenses. These are things that are available to people who have been victims of crime. But guess who most of the time aren't eligible for that? People with criminal convictions.
I know it.
People with, we always the first one on the list. They like, no, they can't get it. So we can go to prison and do time, and as they say, serve our debt to society or pay our debt to society, but we can never be seen as a victim. And so when you look at this from the perspective of equity, when we apply for these resources, they say, well, if you've had a felony in the last 5 years, or if you've had a felony in the last 7 years, or if you've had a felony in the last 10 years, then you aren't eligible for these resources. So we are trying to get those barriers removed so that individuals can access those dollars. But the sad part about this is oftentimes not only is the individual not eligible for these resources, but oftentimes your family is not even eligible. And see, that's something that we really, really, really have to really, first of all, take in and understand what that means, and understand what message the state is sending when they say you are not good enough to receive these resources, even though you've been victimized. And not only that, we don't even want your family to access these resources. So what kind of message does that send to a community that has already been marginalized, that has already been victimized, oftentimes by the state and its policies? It says you don't matter, you don't count. Right. And so the other piece of this policy is that we want people who have been victims of police brutality to have access to these resources. And that is critical. This policy is critical in this time because of the heightened awareness right now that people have for police brutality. Now, we know that since we've been in this country, we have been quote unquote victims of law enforcement in many respects. And so oftentimes the stories that we know about, the things that we've experienced, and the things that we've saw done to other people and to ourselves, because there was no record in terms of a visual record or a camera, then these stories oftentimes went unnoticed or untold. And so now that we have these videos able to capture these injustices in real time, now that we're able to tell this story. And so what has happened historically is those dollars that I was telling you about in terms of victims of crime dollars were connected to filing a police report. And then the police report will be the police's narrative as it relates to what happened with the crime. What was happening in these situations is that if we leave it up to the police report and for the police to tell the story, then we know that the story might not be accurate. It might not be truthful. And we don't have to look far to see that in some cases, the police do not tell the truth. I mean, when we look at the George Floyd case, for example, what happened initially with that? That when they told the story, they never mentioned anything about having their knee on this man's neck for almost 9 minutes. But yet, we all saw this on camera. When you look at the Breonna Taylor situation, when the police report was done for that, same situation, there was no mention of shooting into the house and killing Breonna Taylor while she lay in her bed from shooting in there from a no-knock warrant where they had the wrong house and the individual that they claimed they were looking for was already in custody. And I lay out these examples because the police version of the quote-unquote facts cannot be the version of events that we rely on to determine what happened in a particular situation, because we know that oftentimes the police's version of the situation is not true. And so when we look at these things, this is why we were trying to advance this particular piece of legislation, because we want to look at other forms of documentation to prove that an individual was a victim of a crime, number one, but in some cases, a victim of crime and violence at the hands of the state, because we can't depend on the state to police themselves. And we can't ask the state for money and then have the state say, well, nothing happened. because this is the version that the police provided. And so we're looking for other sources in terms of hospital records, counseling records, witnesses who may have seen it. All of this information is used to determine whether or not an individual should be eligible and able to access these resources. And I know that was a little long-winded, but I really wanted, the family out in the community out there to understand what we are working on and why this is so important and how this impacts all of us and why we need to be as vocal as we possibly can to support the kind of initiatives and legislation that we at Californians for Safety and Justice and TimeDone are trying to advance for the betterment of our people.
Nah, you absolutely right, because we ain't gonna freedom ain't gonna happen without a fight. You know what I mean? So like we even said before, this is war. We're just taking it to a different type of battlefield, because like for so many years they have systematically oppressed our people. You know what I mean? And it's time to wake up, man. Like, you know what I mean? We could sit back. I have a child, and like, I'll be damned, man. Like, we could keep this cycle going, and my son didn't know that I wasn't a part of the fight to make it better for him and his generation and the future of all that. You know what I mean? Because like the fact that me and you had this conversation earlier, we got ancestors all in us. You know what I mean? We got our ancestors. Each one of us got two parents, and our two parents got two parents. We got 4 grandparents. We got 8 great-grandparents. We got 16 great-great-grandparents. We got 32 great-great-grandparents. We got 64 great-great-great-grandparents. We got 128 great-great-grandparents. We got ancestors. We're standing on the shoulders of our ancestors. Our ancestors are here with us. They're living in us, and we owe it to them to make a difference. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, we're going to get up and we're going to move some stuff around, man. You know what I'm saying, man? Yes. So another part of this whole conversation that we said we was going to do, right, is that we're going to keep this thing motivating. You know what I mean? So like, I want to know for some motivate from my man, Nate the Great, man. Come on. Talk to me, player. Talk to me, buddy.
It depends. Where do we want to go?
Okay. Okay. Why are you proud to be a part of this organization? Let's just start there.
Man, I'm really proud to be a part of this organization because we do the work. And we all know from history, a lot of the times the person who did the work doesn't get the recognition that they deserve.
Okay.
It's usually the person after the person after the person who kind of took from that work and created their own. So I'm proud to be a part of a team that actually does the work, a part of the team that's actually, really out there pushing every day. We're not just on our phones. We're actually in the communities. We're actually, when people are being released during COVID, we're actually out in the streets. We're actually going to make sure that they have cell phones. We're going to make sure that they have food. We're going to make sure that they have a place to stay. I'm a part of this, excited to be a part of this movement because it's real. Because it's also ran partially by those who were affected, those who were victims, those who committed crimes and grew and changed their lives. I love being a part of this because it's real people doing the real work, because most of the time in America, we do understand that our narrative has been controlled by a higher up who's never been affected. Our narrative has been controlled by people doing the work who have never experienced it and have never witnessed it. And they're just pulling pieces from our people and our stories, and they're profiting from it.
Right.
I'm a part of this, I'm excited to be a part of this because we stay in front of the curve. We stay in front of it. We are originators.
Right.
So I'm excited to be a part of this because of the brotherhood, the sisterhood, the family, like environment that we have inside of Alliance for Safety and Justice. And we're always trying to provide opportunities to those who deserve it, who get overlooked. I look at it like when we all met, up for the first time in Florida, and I looked around and I was like, this is real. So I'm excited to be a part of something that's actually real, and it's not just black faces in the front of the company and then everything is controlled by somebody else. That it's not just people, who think they are experts because they studied it in school or they can talk about it for hours on TV. I want real, you know, I want to hear from real people. I want to work with real people. And that's one of the reasons why I love, being a part of this movement. Because I want somebody that's experienced it and not just studied it. Because if somebody just studied it, they always look at it as a case study and
Right.
not as a human thing,
Right.
not us as human beings. So
Man.
I'm excited that we're changing the narrative on who we are, and
Right.
that you can't judge us by our past mistakes, and you can't put us in a pigeonhole because of our past mistakes, and that I can voice my opinion being a black man and not care who is afraid. There's this narrative that if you're black, you have to water yourself down or you can't say what you want to say because of fear. And if my intelligence and my strength makes you, fearful, I'm all right with that. So I'm excited, about what we're doing and where we're going and who we're working with and who we're building with, and what we're creating. You know, so I'm just super excited about that, man. And I'm glad y'all are both here. Y'all both inspire me, man, and I look forward to continuing to do this with y'all every single day until we're done.
For
Yeah.
sure.
So that's
Man.
how I feel.
Man, so man, you touch on some real stuff. So Ed, man, he's talked about, you know what I mean, kind of like overcoming stigma. Like, have you ever had to overcome stigma as a formerly incarcerated person, and how do you combat that?
Every day, brother, every single day. I mean, we judge by the color of our skin from the moment we arrive. We're judged by our convictions. We're judged by our demeanor, our disposition, our size. All of these things people take and they prejudge us, and they want to use these things to deny us opportunities, to deny us rights, to deny us the ability to live full and complete lives just like anybody else would want to live. Deny us the ability to provide for ourselves and our families. But I will say that being part of this family, being part of the ASJ, CSJ, and CSSJ family, we don't have to deal with those things here because, as Nathan said, we have a family here of people who understand the struggles, people who have lived the things that we're trying to work on, that we're trying to fix. People have lived experiences that are a part of this family. And I want to shout out my CSSJ family. The folks who work to help survivors of crime and violence. Working with this organization is so beautiful and so unique. To have one side of the organization that works to lift up people who've been impacted by the criminal legal system, and the other side of the organization works to help people who are survivors of crime and violence. And we come together to tell a story that is so powerful and so unique that every time I'm a part of events, it just blows my mind how powerful this is, and the story that this tells, and how many lives and how many people it touches. And having the opportunity to work with survivors of crime and violence, understanding my background, and that they accept me and they embrace me and they know that I'm committed to do all I can to make the world safer for all of us, but particularly those folks who have been negatively impacted by crime and violence, to be able to work together as a team, as a family, as one unit to change this world together. You couldn't ask for a better place to work right now in this time. That we are all called to do this work for such a time as this. And I am so proud to work with you brothers and to work with the rest of our family here at ASJ, CSJ, and CSSJ, because I know the work that we are doing and the work that we are going to do is going to change the lives of millions of people for years and years to come. And it is a pleasure. And so when you ask me, how do I feel about how people see me, I want you to know that I'm coming to change this world for my people. That's how I want you to see me. And I want you to know that I got an army behind me, that I got an army of survivors behind me. I got an army of people who've been impacted by the legal system behind me, who are not taking no shorts. And we coming for freedom. We coming for justice. We coming for equality, and we coming hard. And so with that, I don't have no fear. I don't have no worries, because I'm ready and I know who with me. And I know y'all with me. So it's much love, family.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
much love.
Yes, sir. Hey, got me all
Much
teary-eyed.
love. Yeah, for real.
Nah, man,
Yeah.
it's been a reward. It's been a reward to be working with y'all, you know. And the same thing with everybody that we have been working with recently. I mean, I've been working out through this whole Time Done phenomenon before it was Time Done, and all the way up from Prop 47. Um, you know, it's just so many, it's just a reward and so many good people. I just can't stop shouting out people and other people who I you know, watching this game before me, who inspired me. You know what I mean? Vanya Court just had a birthday yesterday. Man, happy birthday, Vanya! And then Kim Carter out of San Bernardino out there where I watch Kim Carter do her work. You know, and I wanted to give a special shout out to Thomas and Tiffany and Angelique and Linda. You know what I mean? Linda just got off of parole yesterday too, and you know what I mean? Shout out to her, man. And like the reward, and this is what keeps me going too, is that like one is always the fight for your family and everything else, but like you know, it's also you know, the reward of the people that you get to work with, man. You get to work with people who are frontliners, you know, and it's always for me because like you know, a lot of times you get hood mentality, you know, and you know that's something that we got to stray away from. But it's some things in hood mentality that you don't need to stray from. And like some of it is like the loyalty that we had amongst each other. You know what I mean? And like the homie mentality, like you know what I mean, we will ride, die, and you know, cry for each other. So like you know, all in all, you know what I mean, I really appreciate everybody that I've been working with. Um, and I just like you know just wanted to say that this show will we will be running it every other week right now. Maybe we might if it's successful we'll go once a week. You know what I mean? It's professor and the coach, you know what I mean, in the advocate right now, you know what I mean. I put that on my little Facebook thing, and we all came together in the same thing, like he said. We all three had dinner together, and we all was brand new at the same time. So we all started together, and it's been a rewarding year working with you, and also Kenny and Brother Jay and everybody else. You know what I mean? All the sisters and stuff. Shout out to Denise and to Denise and to Shante and David, like he said, you know, with the survivors. And but like we're going to have to wrap this up, and I just wanted to say, uh, um, is there any words that you would like to leave people with? No.
The word I want to leave people with is power. We have the power to change this. And amongst y'all, with y'all, I feel powerful. And so that's the word. It's power. We always have to recognize that we are powerful. We are a powerful people.
Yeah, and I would leave you with love. Um, you know, love each other and do it with love. You know what I mean? Because like when you have a family member who's been impacted by the justice system, or you have a family member that's a victim of crime, how does that make you feel? You know, you love your uncle, you know, who's been incarcerated. You love your father who's been incarcerated. You love your cousin who's been incarcerated, and you don't fear that person. You know, so lead with love and just understand that, man, people are just like you. You know,
Sure.
people are just like you. So just lead with love, man. That's all I got.
Sure.
That's all I got.
For sure.
Yeah, and I say, you know, I'm with both of y'all, and I think like it's you, you know, like you have the power to be the change. You know what I mean? Like my saying goes is that like, ever since you were born, you're born a winner. It's already a journey for you to be born, and the power phenomenon of birth is amazing. And I will elaborate it in future shows. But like, when you're as a child, when when you try to walk, what I mean, before the people who are able-bodied who can walk, you fail over and over and over again. You fail and you fail and you fail and you fail. But one day you took that step, and then you took another step, and then you took another step. Then you was able to run and climb a tree and ride a bike and so forth and so on, And it's just always what I say is the same energy that you took for you to take that first step, continue to take that first step. And with that said, man, y'all have a blessed day. Welcome to the Time Done phenomenon. If you haven't already, you can text Time Done 72345 or 97779. With that said, have a blessed day. Peace and hair grease.
Peace.
Peace. Thanks, y'all.